All right, infernal blessings to all. Peace in the sense that positive energy always creates elevation. I want to shoot this quick video to clarify a few things. One of the title of this video you can't go to the sick to heal the sick. And I'm not just talking about physically sick, all right? I'm more talking about mentally, emotionally, and spiritually sick. All right. Well, we got there's a lot of information that's circulating out there now. We're in a different day and time as far as spiritual changes, spiritual awareness. So there's a lot of stuff out there. People can get very confused. People can get easily led in certain directions, and people's insecurities, fears, and their emotions can be manipulated. All right. Okay, so first and foremost, when you're dealing with somebody who maybe is extremely subjective, or as I like to call space cadets, they're trying to enforce their subjective experiences, but presenting it in its totality in some shape, form, or fashion for you to accept and co-sign on it. This can be a very dangerous practice. It could be very dangerous for the person who embraces this, because it takes from your personal power, and it's everything against what this path stands for. This path is about, as we've said many times in the past, a term you've heard, apotheosis, which deals with self-deification, self-mastery, understanding the divine within the self, and most importantly, not using a method or a concept of escapism. Okay, what is a method or a concept of escapism? Some external concept that's going to fix everything for you, right? I've always said a lot of conscious people subconsciously, even though they might claim to be on some type of spiritual path of enlightenment or awareness or consciousness, they still suffer from Messiah-itas. I've said this for many years. You can go back to old videos. When I first came on YouTube, I talked a lot about this, because I felt this has been a big problem with people who are on this path to self-mastery and are really trying to master themselves. We've been indoctrinated so heavily with this concept that something or somebody is going to come back and fix everything and save us, and it's going to have all the answers. And that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. That couldn't be the furthest thing from what this path truly represents and what the purpose of being on this path is for. All right. So there's a couple of just brief, because I ain't gonna be too long in this video. I want to read an excerpt here that I came across. Okay. The will to power is the ethos of the Luciferian in practice. Keep that in mind. The will to power, right? To obtain this power. No exterior savior or weak morality can enslave the Antichrist, who has seized authority from the red dragon. What is an Antichrist? Not get that religious shit out of your head. Someone who is anti that religious mind state or indoctrination, right? His or her thoughts, words, and deeds are the power directing the Luciferian powers uniquely in this world. So again, the will to bring this power into existence lies within you. Now here's the most important thing. The savior escapist of the Christ figure is not needed nor wanted when the individual is the unique embodiment of his or her self-accountability and actualization. Let me say that again. The savior escapist of the Christ figure is not needed nor wanted when the individual is the unique embodiment of his or her self-accountability and actualization. Okay? I've said this, I don't know how many times I got to say this over the last several years. Okay? The word is self-mastery, not somebody else mastery for me, not something out there mastery do it for me. Okay? Accountability and actualization. If you don't know what that means, then you're still not really grasping what this path is about. And embracing any of those concepts, any of this, I need to be up under a leader, any of this, I need to be up under some figure, some teacher, some Messiah like concept, shows severe weakness, shows lack of power, shows you are not a god or a goddess. You are not in control of your spiritual path. You have put in your spiritual sovereignty into something outside of yourself, where now you become inferior to that which you have succumbed to. That's it. Remember, it's not wanted nor needed on this path if you understand self-accountability and actualization. See, people that don't understand self-accountability and actualization have fears, insecurities, weaknesses, and we all have them to a degree, but people that struggle and succumb to this have no type of control over any of it. That's the whole point, okay? There's one other thing I want to run through here. All right. Okay. If I can find it. Okay. Wait, I think it's right here. Hold on. Okay. I don't know where it went. Well, anyway, I'll probably find it after. I had something else that I marked here, but I can't find it. All right, maybe I can. Hold on. Should have marked this shit. All right. Anyway, let me just kind of elaborate on it. What eliminates what I was just talking about? I think we talk about a lot on the channel, but I think everybody has a different perspective of this, and we need to make sure we have the general understanding of this, because what eliminates that way of thinking that I just talked about, some of those weaknesses that I just talked about, is fully understanding what demonic integration is, okay? When we talk about demonic integration, or the integration of the higher self or the real self, right? We'll use the example that I've used in the past before, all right? Let's use Aleister Crowley's, how he tried to present it at first, even though it gives you a good foundation of what your personal daemon is. He called it the holy guardian angel, right? He called it and explained it tapping in to an aspect of yourself that gives you certain levels of consciousness or awareness that connects you, for lack of a better word, to the spiritual realms, the astral realms, where you can receive communications, messages, and guidance, right? That is just a simplistic or maybe a bit watered down term of the holy guardian angel, of what the ancient Greeks, where the word comes from in Hermeticism, your personal daemon, right? Or your higher self, the genius self, if you go look it up, the most intelligent self, the wise self. So what this simply means with removing all of the excess stuff that needs to be attached to it, it's basically saying being able to tap in to the most highest form of intelligence that exists within the subconscious mind, the psyche, your personal daemon. Now you can give this life, you can give it a form. Some give it a name, depending on how you connect to this. Some create a whole personal entity out of it. That becomes subjective to a degree. And that's fine when you're using it in that context on a personal level. But the self-accountability and actualization, or the self-deification process, it starts there, to understand that part, to understand what goes on internally with you, that all of these things that you need to access to get the answers and solutions to have always been there and exist within you. It's not going to come from some external force, unless you're a weak being that wants to submit and surrender to something that you feel that you're inferior and weak to. It's an escapist mentality, people. This shit needs to stop. We're too late in the game to be waiting for or wondering, is something gonna come back and fix everything for us? It's not going to happen. Okay? People will capitalize off it. They've been doing it for years, and it'll continue. But I think for those who are on the path of self-mastery, we're supposed to be way past that. We're not supposed to fall for that bullshit anymore. And anybody that keeps or continues to, as I've said before, they have a follower mentality. They're not cut out to walk the path of self-mastery. Their path or their destiny or their calling is to be a follower, to wait for instruction. Where a god or a goddess doesn't wait to be told what to do, they get off their ass and they start to do for self. They start to make things happen. They start to manifest things, not wait for them to come. They're not waiting for any message or guidance. They receive their own messages and guidance. They create their own experiences and spiritual awakenings, okay? By tapping into the spirits and the energies based on the ritual work and their knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of it, okay? This just keeps getting lost in transition, because what I'm really starting to see the problem is, it's not so much the information, because I think the information on this topic has been put out clearly many times. I'm starting to see it's not the information that maybe needs to be clarified. I think it's the person receiving it is not fixing or adjusting themselves. Because, look, we're at a point in time where we don't really have much more time to rehashing the same shit, because of based of where we are at right now in society and what's going on in the world. And I don't say that in any doomsday conspiracy theorist sense, but look, we ain't got time for bullshit no more. So if you want to continue to be a weak-minded individual, if you really think in your mind something is coming back for you, something is coming to help you, something is coming to save you, you need to really check that at the door. Because I'm going to say it again, ain't nothing coming for you. Ain't nobody coming back for you. Okay? This has been the hustle they have sold us for thousands of years now. Okay? They've sold this for the last couple of thousand years. It's not happening. But people want to keep, for some reason, and I'm not talking about religious people. Let me get this straight. I ain't talking about religious people at all. This is not a message to monotheistic people that might accept the Judaic, Islamic, or Christian concept of a Messiah. I'm not talking about those people. That's obvious. I'm talking about these people who claim to be conscious, on the path of the occult, or left-hand path, whatever you want to call it. I prefer to just call it in a nutshell, path of self-mastery, because it embodies all those things. So that's what I mean. People who claim to be on the path of self-mastery and all those things that fall in that category. I'm talking about those people who still suffer from Messiah-itas. Okay? Do you still suffer from Messiah-itas? Again, you cannot go to the sick to be healed. I'm talking mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If somebody's giving you these inferior concepts of spirituality, if somebody's giving you these external systems of mental indoctrination and mental slavery, you're now being infused with more mental, emotional, and spiritual sickness. That's my point. We have a lot of people on this path who still suffer from Messiah-itis. and mental and emotional sickness, because they're too damn lazy to do the work themselves. It's just easier if I put it in the hands of another. It's easier if I embrace somebody's going to come back and give me all the answers to life and the world's problems. And when I embrace this concept, character, or figure as my personal savior, all things will be fixed, and I'll have the pie in the sky, and I'll have the ticket to spiritual euphoria. It's no different than a Christian waiting for the rapture to come back. Okay, it's the same concept. So I'm talking to people who are on the path of the occult, left-hand path, who subconsciously suffer from this Messiah-itas bullshit that I've talked about going well back to 2013 and 14. Because I see this, whether it's in the, in the conscious Egyptian Kemetic doctrine, there's still underlying tones of this savior bullshit. You see it in a lot of these paths where people claim to not be religious, but they suffer from post-traumatic Christian stress syndrome or monotheistic syndrome, where even though they claim to be on some path of enlightenment or consciousness or awakening, deep down subconsciously they're still suffering from monotheistic Messiah-itis. That's fact. We're not talking about on the conscious level, because most of them will say on the surface, not me, I'm past that. Oh, I fully understand that. But their actions are completely displaying and showing something entirely different. So it's kind of a contradiction. That's not how it works. Okay? So we need to make sure we are on the path of self-mastery, that we are laying out our own spiritual path. We are creating our own rituals. We are connecting with the spirits, the demons, and the archetypes in our own personal way. Okay? And whatever external experience that we create from within with spirit or demons, right? It's, even though they might on the surface in our personal subjective experiences appear external, it's how we create our own personal reality to connect with that. It's not about having that subjective experience and then trying to push it on the masses and have everybody accept what personal experience you've had. That's how religions are created. That's exactly how they start and begin. That's how cult and charismatic leaders are created. Because the weak masses and the weak-minded, sick individuals who embrace and accept this as a reality give those type of concepts and people power. And then we just take a complete step back to the point where we're back to now worshiping, being up under something, and accepting in our mind that we are inferior to something. Because the trick with a lot of those doctrines and dogmas over the years, and you can look at many of these leaders that have come over the years, your Dr. Yorks, even to an extent your Farrakhan's, your Jim Jones, your David Koresh's, your Martin Applegate, whatever that dude's name was with the Hale-Bop cult, right? They always teach you first and foremost, pay attention because they all have the same characteristic. They always teach you first and foremost your divineness, your connection to the divine, or in some cases how you are a god or a goddess, but then it shifts more, but you're not quite a god or a goddess as they are, or it shifts to being about them. It shifts to being about their understanding of spirituality. So it all shifts. It's like it's the bait and switch. They pull you in with some type of concept that gets your attention, and then once you're pulled in, then the whole narrative changes. Then it's about their personal ego, their subjectiveness, and you accepting the reality of their subjectiveness, right? As I said many years ago, listen, man, the day the conscious pimp is over. You guys got to let that shit go. It's over, okay? This is not the day and time and era to be following and being up under somebody and hailing somebody as some type of savior figure, because it's only going to lead you down to a path of self-destruction, okay? And sometimes you can't return from that path. But there are some people who still just don't get it. They struggle with it. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it with this. I'm going to wrap it up with this. As I said many times before, let me help you understand, not for those who've been watching the channel for a while and know what it is I do, This is not a channel about gaining followers. I don't want nobody following me, okay? This is a channel simply about putting information out there. Again, whether you love it, like it, hate it, agree with it, disagree with it, I don't give a shit. That's personal. That's some shit you got to wrestle with. It's not why I do this. I do this just to get the individual to think, whether you agree or not. If I could get you to think, even if you get pissed off, angry, and mad, I've awakened in something and you have done my job. You don't have to agree with me. And if you are in line with the information and you connect with it, you know, then that's just a, you know, a personal blessing that you should just acknowledge for yourself. I just want to make that clear. That's not what this is about. That's why, as I said many times before, you don't hear me get on here rambling on about subjective experiences. I don't get on here talk, oh, I had some Shango talk to me yesterday. Or I don't get on here talking about, I got a download from the ancestors and they gave me a message for all y'all such and such. That's all bullshit, okay? First of all, nobody can speak to everybody's ancestors on the entire planet simultaneously. See, when you start to pose those questions, oh, no, see, you don't get it. No, I do get it. Because I want to know what ancestors gave you the download, okay? And if you're claiming you're speaking for everybody, then I got specific questions, okay? So if you're saying you had a subjective experience with your ancestors, that's a whole different story. Either way, it's still subjective. Either way, if anybody embraces that without having a similar experience where they can verify the initial experience, then it's just not a reality to you. It becomes faith and belief. Because if anybody gets on here on a platform and says, oh, I received a message from a download from the ancestors and they said this and that, and you go, oh, I believe that and accept that 100%, well, you've become the new follower of that person's religion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Have your own spiritual experiences. Receive your own personal messages through your work. And don't feel the need that you have to convey it and announce it and make it public to everybody and have them co-sign on it, because it's subjective. It's personal. It's for you. It's meant for you, not for everybody else. Because when you want to share it with everybody else, or you just feel the compulsion to, if you're a person who's got diarrhea of the mouth that feels they need to announce all their personal shit for the attention, it shows lack of not getting enough of breast milk when you were a kid. It shows you're starving for attention. You have a lot of insecurities. You have a lot of fears, and that's the fucked up part of your ego that you can't control. That's the part of your ego where you feel you need attention. I need to be special. I'm spiritual. I'm some type of savior figure. I receive personal messages. Let me tell everybody this so they can look at me like, oh, you're so deep, you're so heavy, you're so special. Well, I don't really, I got to say this. I think the people that embrace that are more sicker mentally and emotionally and spiritually than the people who are actually advocating it and promoting it. That's the reality. I ain't going to knock them for the hustle, because they know what the fuck they doing to a degree. But if you're even more sicker in mind and mental and emotional aspect if you embrace it and accept it. That's even worse. So that's what this shit is about, okay? Look, the theme for this year, it's over. We ain't got time for bullshit no more. And this is why you'll see certain stuff I won't address no more. Certain emails I just delete, because some of the questions that come in are questions that should have been asked 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And some of these questions are being asked by the same individuals 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. That's a problem. Because that's a simple way to gauge and measure, are you progressing on this path and getting results? And 9 out of 10 times, they'd have to be honest with themselves and say no. All right, so this is where we at. This is what we do. And nobody said it was easy, okay? Nobody said it was easy. It's work, all right? Other than that, real quick, I should have did in the beginning some quick announcements. We have the upcoming ritual on Patreon. That's going to be on the 23rd. That's the ritual of Samael, the angel of death. That's for Patreon members only. If you have not checked out the Patreon page, check it out, patreon.com/Beniti. There's several tiers on there. The most popular tiers are tiers 2 and 3. Tier 2 gives you access to all the classes for $13 a month. Tier 3 gives you access to the classes and rituals for $25 a month. The tiers above that are mentorship tiers. We have the Red Magus Mentorship Program, which is a one-on-one program. You work with me monthly to develop your path to self-mastery. There's an Egyptian Heka tier, which if you want to focus exclusively on Egyptian Heka or black magic. There's an African witchcraft and sorcery tier, if you want to focus on that. There's a Leviathan tier, which basically gives you access to the classes and the rituals, and it also gives you a once-a-month consultation with me. And I think that runs $50 a month. So there's a tier. You can find something on there. And again, the Patreon page is designed for those who want to take their level of spirituality to the next level. It's where I do private classes, lectures, and rituals. If you have not checked it out, check it out. We're getting ready to start a Klipothic yoga and Kundalini class session, meditation. We're going to show you the importance of all that, working with that, connecting with that. For those on Patreon, I'm about to post something on that after I get off of this. So we've got a lot of good things upcoming. The continuing African Witchcraft and Sorcery series. Second one will be next month. So there's a lot going on. If you're interested in a spiritual consultation, hit me up, or a reading. The type of readings I do offer are Klipothic demonic readings. There's different ones. Send me an email, knum19@gmail.com, KHNUM19@gmail.com. It's right in the description box of all the videos. I also offer readings with Santa Muerte and the spirits of the dead, voodoo hoodoo readings, Egyptian deity readings, and shadow work readings, which is a great place to start if you're getting on this path and you want to know where to begin, how do I address things, what are good rituals to start with. Well, doing a shadow work reading will identify specific areas you need to work on. So that's always a great place to start. So you can reach out to me for any of those things. Send me an email, KHNUM19@gmail.com. Include the days and times you're available and the time zone you are in. Journey of the Black Adept Conference. Let me pump that out there, even though we still about 5.5 months out. That'll be the last weekend in October. We're looking to do that live. This year we're going to incorporate more workshops than lectures. We're going to have we're going to have some speakers. I'm looking to bring in some outside speakers, maybe change it up. Originally I was just going to do the same format from the previous 3 years, but I think we're going to change it up a little bit this year. We're going to do something a little bit different. More information to come on that once I have it more organized, and we're looking to do that live in the last weekend of October, live and in person. So more information to come on that. Other than that, just kind of what I wanted to touch on. So hopefully this sinks in. Hopefully this gets in your head. And again, check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI. Also check out the social media sites on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. On Facebook, 2 words, Primordial Chaos. All the latest happenings, classes, and rituals I post on there. Also in the community section here on my YouTube page, Primordial Chaos community section, you can stay up on the latest happenings there of anything that's going on. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully these next 2 weeks are going to be real busy. Hopefully I can get back on and do a live in a week or two. So I just figure I'll post this one and stay posted and in touch with you guys. If you need to reach me, you know where to reach me. Appreciate all the support. So I want to say infernal blessings to all, and peace in the sense of positive energy always creates elevation. All right, we'll talk soon.